Well, first off, I want to visit a little bit about Leo Berman. Um, he's meant a lot to our program over the last 5 years, both on and off the court. So disappointed for Leor. He had worked his way into a really good spot in the regular rotation, and we had such great confidence in Leor. He's a great example of when you don't always get what you deserve, stay with it. I probably should have been playing him more sooner. Almost every year he's been in the program. So don't exactly, it's hard to understand at this, to miss March. He's worked so hard to put himself in this position, and he's going to be, he's going to be fine, and he's going to, recover. It was a complete ACL tear, so that's going to be good for the repair. There was no other damage. The knee was really solid, so he'll be back, and he will play professionally next year in Israel, God willing. And so, but I can't emphasize enough about, one of our hardest workers and the highest charactered guys, and tremendous student athlete, tremendous person. We'll miss him, but I'm also very confident that the rest of the guys will pick up. Chris Moore will move back into rotation. I think Chris, brings a strong voice and leadership to our team. He's our best defensive communicator. We're always better defensively with Chris on the floor, and just got to get him to play with more confidence offensively. And I think he will, knowing knowing that he lost some minutes in the rotation, and he knows why, and he understood why, and so that'll probably be the adjustment that we'll make. There's so much to play for coming down the stretch. My focus has primarily been a couple things. One, it's the last weekend of the regular season, and mathematically we can finish anywhere between 1 and 6. I think still, right? We've been saying that for a while now, but it's still we're still there. Obviously, we have to continue to win. The second thing is just there's an awful lot to play for from a standpoint of seeding, both in the SEC tournament as well as the NCAA tournament, and the ability to advance in tournament play in March. And so we're trying to be at our best right now if we possibly can. Missouri has played everybody tough. They have not laid down. They have not quit, not 1 ounce. They play as hard as anybody in the league. They've got 3 great guards that can all, really score and take over games. It's senior night at Missouri. I can't imagine the intensity and the passion that those guys are going to play with to try to get, to get the victory. But it means a lot to us too, and a loss also, to a team whose math is so compromised would set us back. You talk about a body of work. The body of work is all year long. Obviously, again, there's a lot of reasons why we would like to play well, and again, trying to play our best basketball now. Coming down the stretch, these games obviously matter. Great free throw shooting team. We got to keep them off the line. That's one of the big focuses. We got to guard them without fouling them.
Great questions.
Bruce, you talked about Chris's offense there, and you said you think he would respond to kind of that challenge. What have you seen from him these last couple of weeks when his minutes did start to decline, and then got another opportunity again on Saturday for y'all?
Yeah. Chris was great. He's been great. He and his family's been great, and that's oftentimes how important it is to get great support from home. Chris is just such a great teammate. He will help us as a team defensively because he's our best communicator when he's out there on the floor. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be when Chris is on the floor because of what he does defensively, not only with his physical ability but his communicative ability. He's one of the toughest guys out there. He's a physical player. He's hard to keep off the offensive glass, and I think he'd be really, really hungry to learn from, the fact that he was getting minutes, starting every game, and not taking full advantage of it. So I'm confident that he will.
Bruce, on the subject of Lior, I mean, can you just kind of expand on what he did for this team during his time here? I mean, a lot of the guys have spoken very highly of him off the floor as well over the past few seasons.
Well, I mean, he's of the highest character. He does it the right way on and off the court. He's disciplined. He's hardworking. He's loyal. He's, he is going to be incredibly successful in life because he's incredibly successful at everything that he does. And so he's great for all the guys to kind of learn from. Just be like Lior. At the same time, if you're not being like Lior, then you recognize you're going to have challenges on and off the court. And he's just from a basketball standpoint, I mean, Lior could get downhill and make it tough too. He's shown that. Lior is a great three-point shooter, and Lior is a tough physical defender. I mean, Lior's really good. He's really, really good, and was playing his best basketball.
Bruce, for a team that hasn't won in SEC yet, Missouri, do you watch them on film and see like a team that's much better than their record probably indicates this year?
I mean, they go to Florida, and I mean, Burgo's got some math, and I'm sure Marlene has some math on it. But like, if you look at their last 5 games, even in the last 5 minutes of the last 5 games, they're a possession or 2 out in every one of them. And so we went to Missouri a couple of years ago with Jabari and Walker, and barely got out of there alive. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to really play well. And again, they've got great guard play. They got real length and size to the rim, and 3 different 7-foot type kids, they can make tough twos. They do a great job, making tough twos, and they do a great job getting the foul line. That's we got to guard without fouling them. That's the biggest thing.
BP, I'm just curious where, I know you're probably so focused on Missouri, but where do you think maybe this team is at the end of the season compared to some of the other teams you've had, 17-18, 18-19? I think every team's sort of been maybe at a little bit different spot coming into March. Where do you think this team is? Do you like where they're at?
I like where we're at. I do. I guess I like where we're at right now for a couple of reasons. One, I think that we know how to defend. And we know how to communicate, and we know that we can make it difficult for the opponents, and I think we've guarded most every night. This has been one of the better defensive teams that I've had. We got great rim protection with Janai and Dylan. We're fortunate to have 5 men that can handle themselves down the post one-on-one. We don't have to do a lot of doubling. Our guards have improved with their on-ball defense. Has been a challenge, but I think they've really worked at it. So the defense and the consistency of the defense gives me a good feeling that we will be in games. And then we've shot the ball better lately. And I think the guys understand, again, at this time of the year, in order for us to win, we have to shoot the ball. We've got to shoot the ball at Missouri better than we've shot the ball on the road. We got to shoot like we did at Georgia. This team has got a chance to have a winning road record in the SEC with a victory. That obviously matters. And it would be the 3rd time in the last 7 years that we would have a winning record on the road. So we'd love to, but we know this we've won, I guess, a bunch of games by 10 points or more. This is probably not going to be one of those type wins if we can get it. This could be our, the margin should be within 10 either way.
Bruce, after the Kentucky game, you were talking about point guard play, needing more from your guards. How do you think those guys have responded the last 3 games? Obviously, Trey had a really great game the other night, and Aiden had that big shooting performance against Georgia. How do you think they've responded?
Well, I think that at this time of the year, we're no longer playing for roles and playing time and minutes and who's starting and who's not. It's just that's not what we're playing for. We're playing to win. So just making winning plays at both ends of the floor, taking great care of the basketball, valuing possessions, competing on the defensive end, and whether it's making shots against Georgia for Aiden or having 6 dimes at home against Mississippi State and having nice tempo on the break like Trey did, it's I think settling down into not worrying about the other stuff that you can't control, but worrying about playing better and playing well. And I think our point guard play has improved.
Bruce, you've had Chad in the starting group for a little bit, like you said, to kind of give more offense. He did that against Georgia, like you want to do in this game. What is it about what he brings? I mean, his numbers have been really good for you guys in the last few games in that starting group that kind of gives you that boost you're looking for.
Well, I mean, Chad's one of our best players, and we had the luxury of bringing him off the bench to give us a spark. And when we went to the bench, quite frankly, and we knew this all summer long, not only was there any drop-off, our second 5 oftentimes in practice would outplay our starting 5. And I've said, if you listen back what I said early on, the good news is when we go to the bench, we don't drop off. The bad news is when we go to the bench, we don't drop off. The question is our starting 5 good enough against Kentucky's or against Tennessee's or against Alabama's? Let's say those are the 3 top teams in our league, or Florida. Our starting 5 against Florida was really challenged because Florida could put 5 guys out there on the floor as good as anybody in this league. But I also think there's something to be noted about starting well, and particularly on the road. You have to start well on the road to give yourself the best chance to win. You can win on the road if you don't start well, but it's harder.
Yeah, BP, Chad's an emotional player, but a good one. It seemed like earlier in the season when he would have an emotional outburst, he would have a hard time getting it back. But in the Mississippi State game, he had one, and he played great, like the last 5 minutes. Talk about the emotional maturity he's starting to show.
Yeah, he's passionate. He's like me. He's very passionate, and he's gaining more experience. And I think what I want Chad to do is see himself as a pro, and more than just a really talented, young, emotional guy that on any given night can beat you. Because he's been that guy for a few years. We all know he's got it. We all know he's got great ability. But I want him to turn the corner and be a pro. Keep the passion. Keep that. Don't change who you are. But I see Chad in a little different light. I see him as a great player.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a really good track record with emotional players through the years here. No, you've had them this year, and you've made them all better.
Yeah.
Part of that because that's who you kind of are?
I would rather have guys that care too much and don't care enough. I'd rather have guys that cry after they strike out and throw their bat than not know what the count is.